Welcome to this update video. As the last video was not really a regular video, we will have to summarize closely 6 weeks in this video. Although that's quite a lot of time, we try to keep it short and just focus on the, for us, most important parts. Just 6 weeks ago, pretty much to the day when the video will be released, we were still in the process of optimizing our grow room. So the lights which we have been using, we didn't have enough of them, so we had to buy quite a lot of them new, as we weren't using the lights of the last year, as those were way too bright. And we actually bought all the lights that we could get from those particular shop. Then we just put together a wooden piece where we could fit them. These are full spectral LED lights. And next we zip tied them to the wooden pieces and put them up into our planting room. One of the big benefits of those lights is that they use quite a small amount of electricity. Secondary is that they have a connecting system which comes with them. Unfortunately, I configured them a little bit stupid, so you would have to always connect 2 of those lights to one outlet, which meant you need a lot of outlets to plug in all those lights to. But this is something that can be changed in the future. For now, we found a solution, and then we just had to plug them in, install them, test them a little bit, and so on. And we also monitor the consumption, and they consume way less energy than the last of the lights last year. And then we were ready to fit them and start growing our young plants. And within a couple of days, the first of our plants that we needed to were hatching. And then after just 2 weeks, they were already ready to be replanted into those quick pots that you see here. And as this is a recapture of the last 6 weeks, already those plants had another 2 weeks in the quick pots, which you can see here, and were ready to be replanted again. So within the last video till now, we have replanted them 2 times, and not the final pots for some of those. For a couple of those, they will stay in those pots until we plant or sell them. Some of them will once again get bigger pots later on. Also, we have to get them out of this particular room, as the space is very limited and we need it for the next generation of plants that have to grow. We will just use the time to repot them and put them into our new greenhouse, which is closer to the house. It is electrically heated and has, thanks to the sun that we had in the last weeks, a very solid temperature even through the frosty nights. So with a good feeling, we can put them there, and they're growing fantastically, which we will see also in this video, as we recapture, as mentioned, a lot of time in this 6 weeks. We will see in a couple of seconds or minutes that those small tomatoes are now in the greenhouse, but some of them have a sunburn because I put them after repotting them directly into the sun, which causes some issue on the leaves. It's not a death sentence, so to say, but some of them will maybe die due to the fact that this is a little bit too stressy for them. But most of them survived and are already looking pretty neat. So we started replanting tomatoes here as well, and these are now boxed into these grey boxes, which we use for watering. So we actually take the whole box and put it in a way bigger box filled with water, 5 centimeter high, filled with water, and then we leave them in for a quarter of an hour, which is the benefit that they are watered from the bottom, and critters which live on the surface don't have a nice wet surface to live in. This is particularly important for pest controls and helps out a lot, and also the plants grow better, in my opinion. This is what our grow room looks at the moment, and you can see there are not too many plants. Most of them are now in the small greenhouse because it's very easy to control the temperature there. We have a lot of kale at the moment in here starting to grow, which needs it a little bit cooler. That's why we are regulating the temperature in here as well. But we cannot regulate the sun as well, so this room is very good for now for all the kale crops to start growing them. And most of those plants will be already in the greenhouse when we publish this video. And if we go there and have a look, we will see that everything is already sprouting pretty neat. Some of those tomatoes have a sunburn. You may see some of them in a second. And they look a little bit bad in this video, but this is a couple of days ago and they recovered. Most of them recovered very well, and we always kept a little bit more on the side as we need, so that we have a backup for a fallout. Yeah, so this is pretty full already, and we will have to repot a lot of those plants. So we already have built up our greenhouse setup for the bigger greenhouse or glass house, where we are able to heat it as well, but not as good as the smaller house. It's harder to control temperature in here. It's bigger, and therefore we just have some of those plants which are either plants that we have extra, so we don't worry too much if they die off, or plants that are already at the size where we don't have the fear that they would potentially die off due to the cold in here. As in the night, sometimes it drops down to 9 degrees inside this greenhouse. This is a little bit of a stress for the plants. But for now, they're looking okay, and the losses that we have so far are not too bad. And I see there's a little bit of a natural selection. And of course, we have been starting in our market garden to prepare the beds and also seed the first fruits or veggies that we want to have this year. We already have seeded some radish, and we still have our onions and garlic in the ground, although some of the onions got some damage through the heavy frost that we had this year. And we used one of our weekends where people are gathering to help us to get a lot done in the market garden, and also in our planting area. A couple of 100 plants have been replanted, and a lot of beds have been prepared. Actually, this weekend we were able to prepare more beds than we actually needed to, which is a huge benefit, because it's just amazing to see what a couple of helping hands are able to do and help you out in this particular very hard or very labor intensive step of the farming in the market garden. And we used to loosen up the ground where we're seeding, and where we're just preparing the beds. We use these foils that you see down on the floor, which are just putting weights on by wooden blocks. And then we use some racks and other tools to prepare the beds. Preparing means we kill off all the plants which are currently growing in them. Particular, we look for very hard to kill weeds, which we have to get them out by hand, which is a very important task. Everything that we do now properly saves us a lot of energy and time later on in the year, because they're not able then to seed or to grow stronger. So this stage is a very important stage to have a good preparation. Yeah, after we kill them off, we try to put on the foils and some wooden pieces, as you see here, which should kill off the plants underneath it, because they start to sprout and don't get any sunlight. So the seeds that are still in there will die off until we open up those beds for planting. And then we will loosen the ground again before we put the plants in. And yeah, we had quite a big tree getting taken out by the snow, if you can see that on the side. And that's basically it. I tried to keep it very short. We had quite a snowstorm just in the last weeks, and that's basically it. And thanks for watching. See you soon, and bye.